Oh wow, Galacton's up. Let's see what's trading on the most traded list, at least. Start there. Nvidia's up 3.5%. Very happy about that. Open doors up. Cogent, good data for, I think it was GIST, gastrointestinal stromal tumors. Pfizer up a little. Tesla. Iron sort of becoming a data center company. I got to look at that one. Rumble. IonQ gives 2 million shares to U Chicago. It's knocked down 2%. Palantir's up 3%. Rip my calls. Could have been very, very good. But I bought other calls, so you're going to see the P&L jump. Probably to over 400% here, but we'll see. RIgetti up slightly. Intel up slightly. Oscar down 8%. What else going on? Intelli up 15%. Seems to be recovering. Losers. Monday.com down 20%. Metsera down 15%. Pfizer apparently wins that bidding war. Mankind, old friend, down 8%. Centene, Tenet, big healthcare stocks down. Unicure down. Reported quarterly update today. Honest down 3%. Elevance, another big healthcare managed care provider. So let's see. In our world, IFRX reported good data. Stock's a little basically unchanged since Friday night. So it's a bit all over the place. Stimulus from Trump, government reopening, Galecto reverse merger. This looks like a good short. It's not easy to borrow shares, but the kind of thing that could, should trade back down to 10 or less. So yeah, lots and lots and lots going on today. Sort of prepare for the week ahead. Earnings season was very eventful in my eyes. So much going on here. Yeah, so we took this big levered long bet, Palantir, Nvidia, Thursday and Friday yesterday. I'm sorry, Thursday and Friday. And it was so funny that that 180s expired. They're in the money at the last 8 p.m. trade. Of course, you don't exercise something like that. I don't know, maybe one of you guys would. Calls expire at 5:30, Xantha. So when will quantum come back down? I don't know. There's some people hoping for a quantum executive order or something like that. Cogent seems pretty good. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on with like Blueprint's drug and their drug, and like, will this be a drug that sells well or not? I'm tempted to sort of ride the momentum, but there's plenty of other trades going on today, like so many that I'm not sure. It kind of looks like, I don't know. I don't trust charts at all, but seems like a buy. The long, you don't say longing. Longing is what you do when you miss somebody. Like, I'm longing for my long lost love. When you buy a stock, you're long. Longing is something different. I didn't look at Airbnb. IFRX, I don't really know a lot about it. I'm long. It's a drug for hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. Drug seems to work. It's a big market, oral drug. I think, it's honestly pretty cheap, but it's biotech. You might have to sit on this thing for a year. That's the hard part about biotech. What's SYBAU? What does that mean, Deuce? What are you trying to tell me? No, you asked me for a price target for the end of the day? I just told you might have to sit on something for a year. Who are these people? Yes, hold on. Let me consult my crystal ball. By the end of the day, I see you're dumbass. I know what it means, Light. I'm just trying to understand what he's trying to say. What are you trying to say? Good man, I don't know if we're going to keep going with that. I'm going to take my money and run. Sorry, no poor people allowed. I don't know if there's crypto volume is really even a thing in some ways. Yeah, I think we get volume from Binance. I don't know too much about Hyperliquid, to be frank.
Martin, what's his name? Martin Shkreli.
I've heard good things, very good things, but I'm not a Hyperliquid expert by any means. Will I go calls QBTS today? What is that? What are you trying to say? Is that English? Maybe you should try harder for English. That's Palantir. I don't know. I'm ignoring Intilia. Yeah, Lay's is a good short. And I don't know if you self-identify as a brokey, that's up to you. But there's a lot of people in Godel who have $3, $4, $5 million bucks. That's not quite an institution, but they can still pay for research. There's also data we get from individuals that's very valuable that we can sell to institutions. So I'm hoping that answers your unsolicited question about my personal business. Is that good? I want to make sure I satisfy, you know, your curiosity. What I do if you sat there not knowing my business. I'd be so upset if you didn't know my personal business. You have a right to know. You need to know. It's important to you. Our latest feature is GLCO, I think, which is a commodities monitor.
That drug pharmacy dude, Martin.
No, Terry. No, I can't.
Shkreli.
You can't. You don't tell me what stocks to look at. These are actually really great companies. Quantum is the best. They're totally not fraudulent at all. Did you ever run into Raj Ratnam? Raj is a big guy on Wall Street. I think everyone ran into him. So, well, we're off. The P&L shoots to 450%. There's a lot of treatments for a lot of different drugs. Doesn't mean you can't have a second or third one. I don't know, maybe you know more about medicine than me, but I thought you can have more than one drug for one disease. Where somebody might like one drug and somebody might like the other one, like an oral versus this injectable or something like that. I don't know. What do I? Wow, look at Palantir go. Oh, I still have the okay, no, I don't. Some of those positions up. Yeah, everything looks pretty good in Shkreli land right now. I don't know what the end state of healthcare is in the US. That's a tough one. No idea. I think it's always a good time to short quantum. Wow, look at this Palantir success. I'm so blessed. It's my situation here with NVIDIA. I see. Look at Palantir go. I mean, I think the market's going to keep rallying, to be honest. But I don't really know. You know, who knows, right? Nobody knows anything when it comes to that. Could you imagine if that happened on Friday? I would have made like 3 or 4 million right in front of you guys. I had like 2,180 calls. And now it's 190. Imagine if I exercised. 20 cents to $10. 50x. 50x and 50 Gs would have been up 2.5 mil. Oh well. We'll get them next time. I'm still happy. We got a lot of calls expiring this week, but I've sold a lot of them. Starting to get down to no position here on big tech. I just had a feeling, you know, sometimes you get a feeling. A lot of people say, why are you doing this? So I have a feeling. You got a problem with my feelings? Wow, Palantir sold too early. Up 7%. I had this really funny dude in jail that was my friend, White Boy Todd. There's White Boy Kyle and White Boy Todd. And every time I did something funny or cool, he would be like, Skrells! Some of these dudes are really cool. I mean, the problem, you know, look, I'm not sure how much I want to be, you know, friendship's a weird thing. Like, the guy's sort of like a drug addict, kind of like not somebody you like, almost like Jesse from Breaking Bad. You're like, he's charming, but like, do you want to really be dude's friend? You know, but yeah, he'd be, you know, he liked rap music like all of us. And, you know, for Palantir, if he were here right now, he'd be like, Skrells! White Boy Todd. All the white boys were either in jail, most of them for drugs, but also there were some battles. A lot. But not young, like, well, it was all over the place, man. Scary. Makes me not want to send my kid to any kind of school of any kind. Now, I think it's mostly girls that are victimized, but still. IFRX drugs, very different from Dupixent. Dupixent is one of the best-selling drugs in the world. Hidradenitis suppurativa is a disease that doesn't have too many great drugs for it. The IFRX drug is a pill. Pedos were fine. They were half the jail. In some ways, they ran the place. You know, when there was jail beef, I was staying with some of the guys that were like really the toughest dudes, right? And they were like, all right, we got to... And I'd be sitting there, I'd be in the mix, not because I knew anything about crime or gangs, but just because, like, you know, I had money and they were just kind of like cool with me. But they'd be in the meeting, they'd be like, all right, we got the Colombians, we got to squash the beef. We've got the Dominicans. You tell the Albanians. They would point to me. I'd be like, yeah. Tell the Albanian shot caller, which is the head of the gang or the car in prison. Tell the Albanians not to beef with the Italians. And I was like, okay. And they'd be like, at the end, I'd be like, who's going to talk to the Chomo shot caller? Chomos are the pedos. That's what we would call them. And they'd be like, I'd be like, we're leaving somebody out. What about the chomos? Guys would be like, I shut the fuck, Shkreli. There's no chomo shot caller. I was like, they have a shot caller. Yes, they do. They're like the weirdest people in the world, as you can imagine. They're these like decrepit, you know, people that look like very weirdos. Very weird, like, you know, what you would imagine, like Epstein looking types. It's like, no, you got to go to the cho shot caller. Another dude piped up. He's like, nah, they do be having a shot caller. Another guy was like, there's no chomo shot callers. It's the big dude. All these guys are in for drugs and violence. Some of you guys don't know the federal system. There's no white collar prison in federal system. There's 4 levels. I was in the low, which many violent and crazy people in the low. But so nowhere near the medium or the penitentiary. You don't want to go to the pen. Pen, you know, that's where you get killed. That's where you get raped. Medium, I'm glad I didn't go to a medium, but I could have survived in a medium, but I would be a very different man today. The low, I was able to be myself, basically, you know, which was nice. The camp would have been better, but jail, you know, there are a lot of idiots in jail. At the same time, you know, there are lots of smart people. And unfortunately, you know, the smart people are not using their intellect for good. So, you know, there are criminal masterminds. I mean, those are probably the most dangerous people in the world. You know, the ones that have no morals, no ethics. They're just in it for themselves, for whatever it is. And, you know, educated and intelligent are different, right? Educated people in prison. There was a not a math professor. He was an economics professor, Cho. And, you know, I talked to him. I was trying to get in his head, man, like, why are you the way you are? And he was just a complete sexual deviant. He, his main crime, he's like, I don't even like kids. I said, okay, that's good. Yeah. And he said, you know what my main crime was, or my main thing that I do? I said, what? And I looked it up. He used to go on the train or the bus and grope people. That was his thing. This guy was like an economics professor at Hopkins. And he said, I know. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah, there's, you know, smart people, but they're also 𝗕𝗢𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏, many others. You know, they're just a little, you know, and we don't know what to do with these people. So we warehouse them. And whether it's whatever kind of crime it is, you know, they chuck them in jail and call it a day. Worry about them in 10 years, you know. But, you know, the Antifa people and the new progressive, like, you know, let's put these people, like, do restorative justice. Like, I get that, you know, people do need to be punished. And at the same time, the victims need some solace. So it's not really easy to balance those two. But it would be nice if there was a way to rehabilitate these people, but I don't think you can. There were some mental health people too, quite a few. There was some. They have a special jail for people who are really, really mentally not there. There are plenty of people with schizophrenia, that kind of thing. You generally didn't see those. They were special medical prisons for those, for patients who needed kind of sort of round the clock care, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm up 600%. But I'm just getting started. Where the haters now, huh? Where the haters at? No, for real, where the haters at? I sold all my Palantir calls. I'm just about to sell all my NVIDIA calls. Sometimes you got to take the I think it'll keep going up, but at the end of the day, that ain't my job, bro. I'll take my gains and move on. Ride off into the sunset. Maybe take a vacation. Go somewhere where there's no bugs. Learn how to swim. Well, Mr. S, you know, you got to be conservative. You had the snapback. You had the gapper. I am allowed to travel now. Thank you for asking. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. No, I made a lot. You know, I didn't quite make 2 or 3 million, but it's pretty good. I'll take it. No, this is not my best trading year. Last year was up 2,400%. You saw it. Some of you saw it. I don't know if I'm bullish or bearish. I mean, the two things seem in balance as markets tend to price everything incorrectly, right? Had a lot of good years. over the years. I'm very fortunate, very lucky. It's hard to tell what'll happen to the future of any company. I don't think Palantir, I mean, Palantir's a great company, so it's hard to bet against great companies. Management's very, very good. I mean, Burry's never created something valuable, you know? No. Who do you respect? Alex Karp or Michael Burry? I mean, Karp made a huge business with his bare hands. Palantir's a movie too. It's called Zero Dark 30, The Hunt for Osama bin Laden. Don't worry about my relationship with AOC, okay? Wifey knows about it. Yeah, totally. Biohaven doesn't have any investors left. Nobody believes. I can't think of a single person who wants to invest in it, you know? After they sold the last company for $14 billion. Nobody wants round two. It's over. Yeah, INQ is down, what, like 11%? On Friday, ended up 5%. It's crazy. Every day. No, I'm long Biohaven. I'm being sarcastic. They have a lot of fans on Wall Street. Pretty easy for them to raise money. So we got 5 trill of market cap on our one NVIDIA. The whole pharma industry ignores one NVIDIA. We got CAPR coming up after the close today. Not data necessarily. Not data, but potentially some updates on when we can expect the data. So that's important. Okay, Quantum's starting to get slapped here. 𝗥𝗚𝗚 is the watch, I think, as well. Nuclear company developing fusion reactors. No revenue yet, but hope springs eternal. Today, Buffett converted 1,800 A shares into 27,000 B shares in order to give them to the family foundation. Susan, 400 Sherwood, Howard G. Buffett, and Novo. Donations were delivered. I will no longer be writing Berkshire's annual report or talking endlessly at the annual meeting. As the British would say, I'm going quiet, sort of. 99 million in cash. Hold on a second. Is that a, oh wow. They let the cash drop. They have a year of cash. They're emitting it. We're entering the pivotal periods and Capricorn readout. 105 patients, Hope 3, powered to measure 2 endpoints. Top line results are expected in the coming weeks. So what does that mean? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Okay, they're pivoting here to this thing, Stealth X exome platform, exosome platform, 98.6. No shares have been sold as of November 10th under the ATM. Wow. Okay. Thanks, I guess. It's pretty odd. There'll be a conference call at 4:30, but yeah. Coming weeks means, you know, sounds like we miss. Could be last week of the month. Sounds like a slight delay. I don't know what you guys think. But yeah, 99 is a little less than thought, and good amount of R&D expense there. That's a fat amount of expense. 45,716 shares outstanding. Yeah, two is on the table. But yeah, not much in the press release. And Berkshire warns of AI deepfakes impersonating Buffett. Let's go. Let's keep reading the Berkshire letter. It's talking about CEO compensation here. The ratcheting took on a life of its own. What often bothers very wealthy CEOs, they are human after all, is that other CEOs are getting even richer. Envy and greed walk hand in hand. Could be Buffett's last letter. We'll see. I have a feeling he's not doing too great, but it'll be a very sad day when he passes away. All right, well, we've got RIgetti here. RIgetti seems to have announced earnings. See how that looks. 1.9 million in revenue. I believe that's below last year. I think Godel, is Godel beating RIgetti yet? No, not quite. Close. We'll get there soon. Maybe next quarter we'll beat RIgetti. They have 558 in cash. Some warrant receipts. So 600. CEO says this past quarter we saw strong momentum with the demand for on-premise computers and development of collaborations. Montana State University, all right. We're excited to support NVLink by paying Jensen more money. 100 qubit chiplet by the end of 2025. That's this year, right? 99.5% median 2-gate fidelity. Ugh. All right, here's the new roadmaps. They want 150 plus qubits by or around the end of 26 with 99.7. Jesus Christ. And 1,000 qubits by the end of 27 with 99.8. I mean, you know, DARPA announced stage B.
RIgetti was not initially selected for Stage B. They received constructive input. RIgetti is optimistic about being chosen for Stage B in coming months. Ooh, that would be good for RIgetti. And we'll give you some constructive feedback, okay? 8:30 tomorrow. Wonderful. For RIgetti. They actually don't have that much cash. They might raise again. They didn't burn very much. They've been burning 15 a quarter. When you take that into perspective, they actually have plenty of cash. But try to compete, they're going to need more cash. Let's just get the Coreweave model out as well. Coreweave. There it is. All right. Okay, good number. 1364. I had 1350? Okay, 1364, 676, no operating income, naturally. Adjusted EBITDA, 638 million. Of course, depreciation is a cost for these guys, but that is an interesting margin there. Revenue backlog, 55.6. I suppose I should keep track of this. Customer wins across AI labs, hyperscalers, and enterprises. $14 billion deal with Meta, $6 billion deal with OpenAI, another hyperscaler, partner of choice for who? Inference.net, Mizuho I've heard of, NASA I've heard of, Poolside I've heard of. First to deploy GB300s. Okay. Raised $2 billion in 9% notes. They have SOFR +4 facility. Coreweave Ventures. Okay. Business outlook will be on the call. I want to hear that. Okay, cost of goods. Actually, are they breaking out cost of goods, tech and infrastructure? Is this new disclosure? Oh, I just didn't do before. Technology. Sure. Okay, so it was always there. I just didn't break it up myself. 368, 824, 747, 479. Gross margin, is that a drop? Okay, 561. House sales and marketing, 44, 645. G&A, 151, 878. Look at that interest expense. Holy shnikes. That's a technical term, by the way. It's a lot of interest. That's a lot of interest. Wow. Why was the quarterly number changed from last year? I don't like that. Okay, last year's sales and marketing, just 4 million. Wow. 33,628 for G&A. Pre-tax income, minus 104. This should be subtracted. 104. Okay, other income I'm excluding for now. Taxes, whatever. I have to worry about taxes for these guys right now. So critical. Don't know how they're going to stay in business to some extent. It's pretty fast revenue growth, but there's the accounts receivable. Microsoft is not paying their bill. OpenAI is not paying their bill. Come force me to pay the bill. Go ahead. I have a fleet. I have a sovereign fleet of GPUs. I'm not going to pay for them. What else did Satya say? What else was his like? He would say that over and over again. Fleet. We have a fleet, a performance fleet of GPUs. No, it's Satya's accent. I can do an Indian accent like everybody else. Come on. I'm Martin Shkreli. I'm an expert at accents. Fungibility. Thank you, D-Magnet. Fungible fleet. That's what I do. It's sort of like Indian Captain Kirk, a very soft Indian. A fungible fleet. It's a fungible fleet. Sam Altman's my friend. He's very good at being CEO and paying me money. I mean, being CEO of OpenAI, which I like to call mini Microsoft. A good relationship with Sam. I meant Sundar. Microsoft, OpenAI soft. I like that Elon Musk. I wish he would use us instead of Larry Ellison, though. Okay, let's see. Leases, taxes, and NCL. So is this an upside down balance sheet? I think it might be. 32 billion, nope, in assets. 29 billion in cash. Debt liabilities. Okay, of course this didn't add up. 32,910 is the right number. Okay, so I don't have the right assets. Missing some assets. It's at 171. Other current liabilities. How about up here? Estimate a typo. 1335, 830. What's 200? 200. Oh, I missed the goodwill. That was it. 200.001. All right. Now let's look at cash flow. This is the most interesting part. Cash flow from operations. 1689134. Big number. 1689134 minus this, minus that. So for the quarter, okay, 1879. I don't even know if that's right. 1689, but that's for the quarter. So the 3 quarters are there. 1499051. I'll just put this in 1689134. CapEx. Let's see if they lightened up on CapEx. Nope. They bought more chips than ever. Okay. Do they tell us what DNA is? Let's see. Let's see what's depreciation here. 630. 479. I'm gonna do this. Oh, 630. Okay, so if you exclude the costs of the chips, they're actually running a very profitable business, 64% DNA, which, you know, makes sense. Sorry, 64% gross margin. So, you know, really depends on how long you think those chips are gonna be valuable. That interest expense will get you. It's hard to predict where revenue is going to go without buying new chips. Let me try something like this. 3 billion runoff per year. 3016. Why do they have less debt than before? So it's 20 times earnings if you exclude, if they never buy a chip again. That's what they and obviously the current chips don't last 20 years. Well, the backlog, well, that is good, but I got even with that backlog, there's some, it's not wildly overvalued, but there's some value missing there. If it keeps growing, Sender, which is, you know, what the stock is implying, they'll be fine. You know, they have to grow that backlog even more though, and that it's a hard company to understand in some ways. Okay, so CAPR, nothing really happened there.
China. 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 China.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Capricorn Therapeutics third quarter 2025 conference call.
Third quarter.
At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode.